heard you came back. I knew you were gone, but I never knew when you were coming back. I run. I run, knowing you're waiting for me. I run up to the door like a dog excited to see his owner. I paw the door open, and there you are, just where I last saw you. But you aren't the same as last time. You're closed off. I tried my best to get you to open up, but I wasn't good enough. Nothing I did was good enough. I just wasn't strong enough. Didn't matter that I tried. Nothing I did to get you to open up was working. All of my tricks to get you weren't working. This time, you weren't having it. I was tired. All of my efforts felt like it was for none. I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I come back more ready than ever. I prepared myself for anything. But there you are, without me, but with him. I know they're tight. They don't care about you. All they want to do is use you. But why? Why with him? You were sitting there, open as ever, showing your sweet and your sour side to him, but not to me. What could he have possibly done that I hadn't done already? There is no way he knew more tricks than me. I wrote the book on how to get you and only you. That's it. It's always been like that. You don't like the guy who tried his hardest. You don't like the guy who stayed awake at night thinking about being with you. You like the new guy who sweeps you off your feet. Even though I swear I'd already tried that, no. There was no way that could have worked. All I can do is stand there. He looks at me. He didn't even break a sweat. All I can think is that I made it easier for him. And yet, it's over. He's finished with you. You sit there expecting him to have stayed. Bullshit! He cast you aside like he cast aside every other one like you. He didn't even care about you the way I do. But it's fine. After all this time, I finally get to be alone with you. I go up to you. I pull you out of your closed-off state. I reach in and grab a pickle.
People are hurting. People I love and care about are in pain. They're mourning and grieving something insane, and all I can do is watch. I can't help but feel these wounds too, because I've realized there's nothing I can do. Trying to stay afloat on this anchor, but I know that saying I'm here for you over a screen won't pick up the shattered glass. It won't change the past. It won't stitch all the broken hearts together. It won't bring anyone back. I'm glued. I want to help, but how can I do so, knowing all I can offer is a hug? But a hug isn't a tool that will heal these wounds, the permanent scars, and I'm way too far. The most I can offer isn't sufficient. It's unworkable. I lay awake. It's 4 a.m. I've had another nightmare about this again, and the pathetic role the media plays, showing the horrific footage on replay, almost as if it's their favorite movie. It's heartbreaking, and it's not okay. I think of my heroes who are confused, fractured inside. They're probably asking themselves, why? Why us? Why him? And I'm a million miles away, unable to comfort them. So I cry. I cry until my bedroom becomes the ocean I nearly drowned in, but I found this anchor to help me float above until the salty tear water washes out. My tears flood through and into the hallway, out the door, across the street, because I just want to be a doctor. I just want to be the one to heal the bruises. But healing won't change what's already happened. It won't revive. It will only ease the pain temporarily. I wish I could wrap my arms around them, try to comfort them as much as I can, but I'm a lifetime away with a box of Kleenex in my hand, because saying I'll be there through a pixelated screen won't help and mend those close to me. 3 words mean everything. I love you. Tell your friends and family that, and mean it, because tomorrow is never guaranteed. We never know if we will have the chance to open our eyes on a new, fresh day, or if we will make it through this one. You always loved to fly. You left us doing what you loved. Our fallen angel is now safe in the sky. At least we know you're soaring high, and you'll never hit the ground again.
There you both stand, the last 2 in the game. Your palms may be sweaty, but true is your aim. You spot them in the distance. You line up the shot. You know you'll survive. And boom! They will not. Victory Royale! You did it. It's done. You've beaten the odds, 99 against 1. You've finally done it, and with a feeling of glory, you take a quick picture and post on your story. But I have a message, because my patience runs thin. Nobody cares about your Fortnite wins. I hop onto Snapchat or Instagram, but all I am met with is continuous spam. Maybe I'm just jealous and bad at the game, but still this repetition just drives me insane. Now I know that to you, I just sound crazy and pissed, but I'd like to assume that you all get the gist. And yes, this is starting to happen less, and that's great, but I still sometimes see it, and it drives me irate. So please, next time that you win, be aware that other than you, nobody will care.
What is stress? It's a small word, 5 letters, nothing less. It's not something you can see, it's not something you can touch, but it is something you can be. Stress is just an emotion, everyone knows that, but then why is it always in motion? What is stress? Is it not being able to fall asleep, worrying about a test? It's much more than that. I can't focus when I'm stressed, I can't read my book while not being upset. I'm lying in bed awake, but can't seem to get comfy. My pillows are rocks. These covers can't shield me. What is stress? Is it even relevant? Is it much more than it seems? Is it bad that the only place I can't escape is my dreams? It shouldn't be ignored. I did that. I tried, walked out that door, only to be pushed back inside. What is stress? Because I would like to know. Tried to keep it suppressed, but all it did was grow. Stress affects everyone, and it can control us. And what most people don't know is that we can control it too, and we must.
You are alone. Are you seriously going to make them worry about you and your pitiful problems? They have their own things to worry about. They don't need to worry about you and your stupid life. Actually, they wouldn't care anyway. You already know they lied to you. They say you're beautiful, but have you looked in the mirror? They're just trying to make you not feel bad. They probably hate you anyway. I mean, how could they not? You're stupid. You're annoying. You're alone. This voice rings in my head every night like a never-ending bell, over and over and over and over, telling me that I'm nothing. It tells me not to tell anyone, but keeping it in is like being trapped in a small, dark, windowless room with the walls slowly closing in on me. So I tell someone to try to stop it, but they just try to encourage me with stupid sayings and quotes that are overused. Just don't listen to it. Just ignore it. If you could, don't you think I would? The small voices of the compliments are like ants going up against a giant, completely useless. They're drowned out by the loud voice of the demon in my head. Every time I try to run, it pulls me back, laughing at my pitiful attempt at escape. Its words are like daggers, piercing my skin over and over and over. But there's nothing I can do. I'm useless. I'm stupid. I'm alone. I pray a hero will save me, but I know there is none that will come. It's a stupid thought. But then suddenly a thought comes to me. A hero would not be coming. I will have to be my own hero. I pull myself off the ground and slam my foot on the floor. No more running. I look the demon in its cold, dead eyes. Everything about it makes me want to curl on the floor and cry. But I stay standing. All the words I've been keeping in come out like a flood. I am done with you controlling my life. I am done with you holding me back from the things I want to do. And most of all, I am done with your lies. I am not alone. There are so many people that care about me, and I will not let you hold me back from them anymore. You can't control my life. Only I can do that, and I won't just sit here and watch you do that anymore. So I walk away. I know it's still following me, but it's getting farther and farther away. Life will always be an uphill battle. I know that. You can't expect to march right on up to the top and be perfectly fine. Everyone will fall, and everyone has their own scars. But the most important thing is that you get back up. Everyone has their own demons following them. Some are bigger than others. But the most important thing to remember is you are not alone.
What is excellence? Is it defined by undeniable intelligence, or is it defined by your cultural inheritance? I know I'm black, probably the ashy is here. No Vaseline, this is my most undeniable fear. But what scares me most is the white puppets here. First we're in Africa, then we suddenly disappear. The chains of slavery cuffing around my wrist. Dogs live better than us, at least they were allowed to coexist. The cotton we picked was more bright than our future. In the cotton fields, ashy knees don't know the answer. End of slavery caused the start of segregation. Different schools because we're colored or they had discoloration. During these struggles, we listened to God in his holy churches. With ageless souls, we were prone to uncertain resurface. They called us crazy when they saw us screaming hallelujah, marching with Martin Luther King, spreading fire like it was magma. Flash forward 2018, getting murdered by cops. Too much bodies on the floor, we'll probably need some more mops. Nowadays, the Migos expressing the black culture, rapping about how the white boys ready to eat us like hungry vultures. To this day, the black nation's still nothing but broke. You never sleep in the ghettos, you always have to stay awoke. By awoke, I mean awake and not that Black Lives Matter crap. Y'all better stop with this hashtag nonsense while we collecting skull caps. Me and my crew, we call the ashy skinned Negroes. If you trying to roast us, we'll get you in incognito. I hope I get on the podium first, second, or third. But all that matters is that my voice will be nothing but heard.
Fear is an emotion that everyone seems to have. It seems to be everywhere you look. It sneaks up behind you when you're not looking, nudging you every chance that it gets, only for it to return back to hiding moments after. It's constantly running through your veins, making you feel sometimes more than just pain. It controls your life in ways you never thought it could. They usually started developing when you were younger, like the fear of riding a bike or the fear of clowns, and let's not forget the classic monster under your bed fear. But in the real world, unfortunately, there's a lot more to worry about than just an entertainer with exaggerated makeup and large shoes. As you get older, the fears get harder to handle. Your blood will start boiling, your stress level is more intense, your blood pressure is higher than ever, your palms get sweaty, you start stuttering, leaving you there standing alone, feeling embarrassed and helpless, not knowing what to do, and that's when the fear will start slowly fading away back into hiding, only for it to come back sooner than expected. Everything in life will just pass you by, waiting for you to come and get it. Get what you've always wanted, but you won't do it because you're too scared. Fear is something that is so little that could take up such a big space in someone's life. You'll watch every opportunity pass you by like clouds in the sky, leaving you with confusion and regret, wondering, how could I have let everything just go away so quickly? Only to realize that these fears are always around you, so they become your new normal, they become your new reality, without you even noticing. And you'll secretly be hoping that everything will turn out okay, wishing that a bottle will be washed up on the shore in the burnt sand near your feet like in the movies with a letter in it telling you that everything will be okay. But living like that, living in fear, it's of course up to you. But proving people wrong, especially yourself, can be the best feeling ever. Everything is easier said than done, of course, but running away from reality can sometimes be harder than facing it.
Last month, around this time, I was in Bangladesh. It was the first time where I no longer imagined, no longer envisioned these mournful pictures from posters, but rather witnessed it with my own two eyes. But I felt as if my hands were tied. I saw people on the streets, people unlike us. They were not clean, but rather patched with dirt. They were not wearing the newest Nike shoes, but rather soiled, ripped sandals. But our hands are tied. I saw mothers with almost broken hips, from carrying their not only small children, but tired, weak, hungry ones, unable to walk by themselves. But I'm sorry your back hurts while carrying a few books. Storms of shivering nights and days spent blazing in the sun, but I'm sorry you had to go outside for gym. These people, they starve themselves because they can't find food, not to look like a Barbie. I hear a mother tell her daughter, everything's gonna be all right. Things can only get better from here. The little girl's eyes gleamed with hope. She was prancing in the dark, sure of a sunnier tomorrow, but both the mother and I knew that was false. She was feeding her little girl lies because she couldn't afford to feed her anything else. But our hands are tied. These people, they are not homeless, for home referring to a place where one lives. They live on the streets, therefore the streets are their home, not exactly sweet home. I see a little boy watching all the big cars roar by, waiting for a red light when he can go up to these cars, knock on their windows, his hands curled, pinning his hopes on a few coins. But he ends up waiting for another red light. He's been wearing the same shirt for God knows how many years, but I'm sorry there's a little stain on yours. Our hands are tied. Sorry? On a quiz, you read the question, but you do not understand it. You do not understand it. But they can't read the damn question because they don't know their ABCs nor 1, 2, 3s because there was no one to teach them. Our hands are tied, tied, tied. You're counting the days until you're sweet 16, anxious on what color the balloons are going to be. They are counting the days left on earth, left in such a brutal condition, anxious on where they're going to sleep the night. You think these people are trying to find an entrance in society, but really they're trying to find an exit. These people, they are facing a reprehensive 7-letter word, P-O-V-E-R-T-Y. But you see, poverty cannot be felt in AC'd rooms with bright white shirts and fresh perfume. But I lied, like that mother to her daughter. I lied to all of you because our hands were and never will be tied.
She was unparalleled, unique, a rare species of beautiful, for it may not have been her face that was carved by God, but her mind. She thought with a deep precision, seeing the world in an unexplainable way, noticing every detail, every tick, screaming second that ran around the clock. But of course, the way she thought wasn't the way you thought, so you thought she was wrong. You thought anything she did was wrong. You thought that if you spat fire at her dreams, that you'd feel better about yourself. But you thought wrong. All she ever did was care for people, though most never returned the favor. Not even her own parents. She did fine on her own, because she was strong. Unfortunately, you were the opposite. You see, you portrayed yourself as being strong, but let's be real, only the weak pick on the weaker. You never knew what happened behind the walls of her home, never cared enough to ask her why there was a bruise on her arm or a cut beneath her eye, the eyes that replayed everything you ever did to her anytime she dared to close them. No, you were too stupid to put 2 and 2 together. Too stupid to realize that her smile would never meant she'd be okay because she was never okay to begin with. You were too blinded by self-grief, feeling too sorry for yourself to feel sorry for anybody else. You took one good look at her. What she wore, what she looked like, the way she talked, walked, stalked her. You stalked her like a predator for its prey, looking for her at recess, at lunch, picking her as your own personal punching bag, but you picked the wrong girl. Do you not get it? Don't you get it? She was already walking on eggshells, so why'd you have to go and jump onto her shoulders? I mean, come on. Do you not have one grain of human decency in your body? One grain of kindness? One grain of, hey, I probably shouldn't pick on the quiet girl with a bruise on the side of her face, the bruise from her father. Her father that was supposed to cradle her when she cried, but instead collided his fist to her tender skin, making it turn blue, making her scream out in pain, but somehow feel numb at the exact same time. Yeah, her. You probably shouldn't have picked on her. But you did. You yelled at her, you hit her where it hurt with your fists, your feet, the words that rolled off the tip of your tongue as if they were any words you used every day, simple words that meant nothing to you, that meant something to her. You embarrassed her in front of everyone. You tripped her, pushed her, spat on her, you treated her like a piece of garbage, you alienated her, boiling her dreams in a pot full of her tears, cooking up something to make yourself feel better. Well, do you feel better? No, tell me. Seriously, honestly, feel better yet?
There are 5 of you. I can count each of you on one hand, like each point of a W. When I'm with you, my world does nothing but expand. A few months ago, I thought I had no one to count. No one to count on, no one to laugh with, no one to cry with, no one to be with. But there were 5 of you. 5 of you who opened my eyes, not 6, not 1 or 2, 5, who parted those clouds all full of lies. I remember spending hours in the same 4 walls I call my room, all by myself, because the feeling of having no one around drowned the thought that I'd ever have anyone like you. There are 5 of you. There are 5 of you, right there when I need you. I love each and every one of you. You've all shown me that finding my people was my own false statement made true. If you take the first letter of each of our names, the words melt me are formed. Each one of you lit a fire around my heart, causing it to melt like a candle whose flames went out. But there were 5 of you, right there, to softly bring a breeze to my dying ember, causing it to rise above everyone else's false impersonation of love. The word friend used to creep up and scare me. All I saw in the word was rejection and deception, but all 5 of you have made it very clear to me that lies and hurt are nothing but an interception between me and where I'm really meant to be. There are 5 of you that I wish I could thank every waking day I've got, because people used to wake up thinking, oh, that girl's just really not what I was expecting. She has got to stop pretending. You were the first 5 to take a minute and see my true worth on this planet, shove aside the never-ending comment that I was just another one of those. So thank you. Thank you for the warmth. Thank you for the smiles. Thank you for that feeling I get only when not wasting, but spending my time with you, with all 5 of you.
Chapter 1, Childhood. Breathe in and out. They're just noises. Like Mom always said, they can't hurt you. If I just close my eyes, maybe they'll go away. I'm lying still. My mind is racing as fast as the blood rushing through my veins, and I'm patiently waiting for my mother to come open my bedroom door and check under my bed to tell me that the monsters aren't there. You know, the ones that live under my bed, the ones that prevent my damaged little heart from going to sleep because all I can hear through these broken ears are the menacing growls of the predator and the slow sound of scratch marks running down the grained wood saying that I'm the prey. Predator and prey, life and death, fears of a 5-year-old. Chapter 2, Adolescence. Romeo and Juliet, you and I guess you could say he wasn't like any other, eyes so blue you could get lost at sea. Little did I know that the ocean could look so gray, yet so tempting. So I decided to jump right in, take a running start with one foot in front of the other, and then leap off that cliff, waiting for the open arms of the silky blue waves to catch me. I let you see that vulnerable side of me, but all you're thinking is how to move that hand from behind your head to my body. So you do. Those hands I once loved to hold are moving painfully slow where I don't want you to be. So my mind is running as fast as the blood rushing through my veins. I thought you wanted my personality, but all you want is what's in between my legs. I know what I'm hearing, the desperate sound of claws shredding their way through the bed that my father made to make sure any disgusting monsters like you would never take advantage of the innocent little girl I still am. Your grasp on my mouth hopelessly tries to muffle the sounds you weren't planning on hearing tonight. You are the real monster. But the other ones, the ripping holes through the bed, frame, headboard, and posts, as they're attempting to save that same young girl with the 5-year-old dreams. And so I managed to turn my head and gaze into those monsters' eyes. Blue like a sea built on worry and love. But floating above them was an angelic halo. I never thought the day the monsters would come out, they would be in the shape of you. You tried to take my innocence from me like it was yours to take. I'm lying still, scared to move a bruised muscle. My heart is pounding, kind of like the sound of feet sprinting up the stairs, and the pungent smell of fear slowly creeps between the door and my teardrop-stained floors, fearing that I never truly accepted the right kind of love.
His mother didn't know what was wrong. She tried her best, but nothing worked. His father didn't care. Work was a priority. Therefore, he couldn't help the boy that people laughed at, the boy that people would wonder about, the boy who couldn't speak. Said the teacher, staring him dead in the eyes, he tried to convince his tongue to move the right way. But the hyperactivity could not keep him silent for long. Every day was the same story. Every day he knew he would screw up. Every day he had new hope. But one day changed everything. He came home drowning in his tears, suffocating his sorrow. His mother asked him what was wrong. He said, "Mom, there is more wrong than right. I am the boy who cannot speak. I am a fish who is expected to fly when I barely even know how to swim. Why am I born this way? Why is it that I am such a quote-unquote retard who can't turn lemons into lemonade? Because lemon is a fruit and not the people around him. Why does my tongue skip a beat? My mouth and brain are two cars moving on the same road at different speeds. I am the boy who cannot speak, who somehow talks too much at the same time. I'm the boy who cannot speak, standing here in front of you, searching for the answers as to how this just happened. I am the boy who cannot speak, and I just spoke.
When I tell my mom I love her, she says I'm glad. And I never thought for a second that the gladness was anything beyond the fact that her nights as a mom spent grueling over the merciless supper pans and plates needed a little love. My mom grew up in a house with a brother, 2 cousins, a set of parents, and their siblings. Naturally, they all smoked like chimneys. Ash laying the very ground she walked on, and sometimes she'll even stop and sniff the air for nicotine and her shred of the 60s. Now, my mom's mom was a tough lady. She'd had a life on the wrong side of the tracks for a long time. She loved my mom, undoubtedly. But my mom needed a mother, not a nanny, and she needed love, not secondhand smoke. If I was to be typical, I'd say that times were hard back then, but back then isn't an excuse for a father putting the green till dusk festered like a wound on the horizon, and a mother that tended the house like an obsessive gardener. My mom was a lonely child, but she read and devoured books like the Ashy meals back at home, but thousands of times more delicious. She knew my Narnia, my Little Women, and Darcy's Elizabeth as a child. She was quite proficient, and she grew, and she existed in that house of smoke and coughs, the love as blackened as their lungs, crackling voices like tuning into a far-off radio station. My mom's station was her home. Static and muffled, tuning into a far-off station. Beak was the family brand, and their cigs never enough for lunch and for dinner. Their dinner, I'm afraid, like their lives, was quite bland. And they revolved around the rolled cancer sticks in between their yellowed fingertips, fingers reminiscent of Easter egg dyes, but these fingers couldn't dye an egg, especially not 15 minutes since their last smoke. Mom finally left. Smoke still clung to her clothes like phantoms, hoping for a second life, but this second life didn't hold a place for withering love and addictions, no. She chased her life like a runner after a medal in a marathon, but she never found the end. Love wasn't a journey, just a simple accomplishment, as short-lived as that house's breath. When I tell my mom I love her, she says she's glad. And I'm glad I don't have to live in a house of miserable ash and smoke glued together to look like walls and a roof because I'm asthmatic. And I'm glad that she'll always be there to be proud of my grades and listen to me tell her about books she's read thousands of times. I'm glad I won't ever have to run from but to her, and that my clothes aren't so heavy with smoke, because she ran the miles and soaked up all the bad air before I was even born. Mom, I'm glad I have your arms when his aren't there, and your nimble fingers that were once for turning pages to wipe at my tears. Those nimble fingers that so happily dye eggs with us come Easter. Mom, I love you, and I'm so glad.
Dear DJ and Jasmine, it's probably going to be a shock, but I'm your big sister. You actually have 2 older sisters that love you and can't wait for the day they get to meet you again. Jasmine Neige, you're 10 or maybe 11. I saw you for the first time when you were around a year old, but only for a short period of time because the monster said that me and my sister were crying too much and that a 5-year-old should be able to control themselves. I saw you for the second time on your 2nd birthday. I paused and looked at you. Hair as blonde as can be, cheeks as rosy as a cherry blossom, and your big green but not quite green eyes were glistening. You, my dear, were the definition of beautiful. That is my little sister, ladies and gentlemen. No one could ever separate me and my precious little sister. Or so I thought. As the visit approached its time limit, I said bye to Mom first because I knew I could get to see her in a couple weeks or so. The monster told me to hug you tightly and kiss you as much as I could. So I did as told and came to sit beside you on that big blue mat where you were seated and stared at you for a good 20 seconds before you turned and before you turned and smiled at me. I did as told and held you tightly in my little arms. I kissed you as much as I could, but the amount was never right. If only I knew. I'll see you soon. I promise. But my promise has yet to be kept. Because I don't know whether or not the people that adopted you changed your beautiful name, or if you're still even living in this country. Do you remember me? Because I remember you, and I miss you. You and your little brother have yet to meet. DJ is his name, or maybe not. DJ, you're 7 now. I saw you for the first time when you were 2. You're about this tall. Our meeting was very brief and accidental. I just so happened to be delivering chocolates to the older kids that were also like me, while you were on a supervised visit with Mom. You looked at Mom and then at me and ran as fast as a chubby 2-year-old kid could in my direction and gave me the biggest hug. Mom was already crying. I don't know if it was because she was sad or because her prayers for me to meet you had finally been answered. But I didn't care. But I didn't want to know, because all I cared about was that you were in my arms for an unpredictable amount of time. The monster told me that it was time to go, so I took all the courage a 7-year-old has to let go of you. But you held on to my finger and refused to let go. Say bye to your sisters, Mom said. Trying to hold back the tears that kept flowing like a faucet without a handle to shut it off. I kissed you goodbye, and little did I know it would be the last time that my lips met your chubby cheeks, or the last time that I get to hold your tiny hand, or the last time that I get to stare into your eyes. I'll see you soon, I promise. My promise has yet to be kept. The monsters forced Mom to also put you up for adoption. You had the same blonde hair, same rosy cheeks, same button nose, same big green but not quite green eyes as her. And I miss you too. The Child Protective Services, the monsters, told me and Oceane, that's my twin, your other older sister. Do you remember? The monsters told us that it was for the safety and well-being of you both. But God, please tell me why I've been in this stupid system for almost 13 years now, and why Mom is all alone and why Dad left before I could get an image of his face embedded in my brain. And why did you have to take and continue to take away all the people that I truly and deeply care for? Why? DJ, Jasmine, Mom is a great mother, a sweet, loving, caring mother who always puts us first. DJ, Jasmine, Oceane is an hour away from me, and we've been through many foster homes, which 4 out of 5 weren't so nice, sweet, loving, and caring. DJ, Jasmine, maybe adoption was the right decision, because what we've been through, I wouldn't wish upon you or my worst enemy. DJ, Jasmine, I love you, and I miss you. I'll see you soon, I promise. Sincerely, your sister, Angel.
It hurts when I touch it. I'm sure it's just an inflamed muscle. It's hard to breathe. I'm probably just getting a cold. I keep yawning. I didn't get enough sleep. My eyes feel bulgy. I'm just tired. I've got needles in my arms. They're just running tests. I'm laying next to an IV. I've got cancer. I sit there and think, I can't die. I just can't. Of all of the people in the world, all of these crooks and bullies who run freely from justice and consequence, why me? Insert explanation here, please. I am alone with my parents and my doctors. I am being infused with a liquid from a bag that's got a sign saying cytotoxic, kills cells. I am 12. I can't spell cytotoxic, let alone deal with it. 3.5 years with no end in sight. I can tell you about the tears, I can tell you about the anger or about the chemo, but you still won't know my hell. And I don't want that for you. But insert explanation here, please. I had a friend. His name was George. I'd sit across from him and he would smile at me, the way children smile, free of knowing what will happen tomorrow. His brain tumor and testicular cancer weren't going away, and neither was his positive spirit. Hey, Tristan, what'd you think of last night's loss against the Leafs? He stopped living. This courageous, loving heart of a man stopped living and just existed. Insert explanation here, please. One day, just like that, his waiting room seat was empty. No more wheelchair, no more tubes, no more hockey banter. My heart was beating while his wasn't. Insert explanation here, please. When I wake up sick from the chemo, when I have to miss school, when I have to control the urge not to expel the vile taste, when I don't even have enough energy to tell my mother thank you, I remember George and how he had it worse. So hey, teens, next time you want to whine about your slow Wi-Fi, your lame breakup, your latest video game obsession, you might want to zip it, lock it, and put it in your pocket. I hear people telling jokes about cancer because they think it will never affect them, which is what I thought. How about we laugh at your tragedies, the things that keep you from falling asleep at night? Because it's hard to close your eyes when you're worried that you have a tumor in your head or in your lungs again. If I'm able to walk with this smile, I'm sure you can too. Insert attitude adjustment here, please.
When her mom tucked her into bed, she had to confess. A lady with wrinkled eyes and a curved back came to see her outside. The lady smiled, telling the girl that she reminded her of her as a child. Her mother frowned, not understanding why tears trickled down her daughter's cheeks, but the lady sparked a realization. She didn't want to deteriorate. And after that day, she no longer wished to grow curves because she would just become an hourglass sand, washing away her youth. Her hair was never braided again. Why waste such valuable time on something that will soon decay into a soft gray? She stopped measuring herself, not wanting to take up that much space in the ground anyways. I still think of that lady, the fear that she engulfs me with, that we simply live in the shadows of our tombs, that the accomplishments we make, the birthdays we celebrate drag us one more foot under. And I dread the day that making mistakes is no longer okay, because when I'll be late for work, there is no late slip, but an eviction notice on my door. Running away from your problems gets difficult when slowed down by a cane. And when all these feelings intertwine, pulling me away from the grasp of life, bearing me under, while I continue to take breaths, I remember my mom's answer, that the lady was only wrinkled because of all the days she had spent smiling. Her back only curved because the weight of all that love got heavy. She spoke slowly because of all the memories that lived on the path of her thoughts. Her words were quiet and soft, because after all, a voice can get tired following a lifetime of laughter. My mom stared into my watery eyes and told me that if I continued to cloud my days with fears of the inevitable, I would never earn the blessing of becoming that lady.
Dear Mom and Dad, you tried so hard to hide it, but our perfect home was no longer perfect. Turned to a battlefield, every shout was a bomb that made our family crumble a little more each time. Me and my brother were the peacemakers. The living room walls became jail cells, confining us to our own war zone. There was no peace. Every voice that was raised added to the fire, and every piercing cry for help was engulfed in the flames. Dear Mom and Dad, what happened to our perfect life? You read me storybooks each night, but then every story became replaced by the altercation in the kitchen, and I'll read it to you later. But later never came. Your mouths were triggers firing lethal ammunition like a pistol shooting bullets at a target. And that target was each other. But everything will be okay, you told me. That was a lie. It was all a lie. Just lie down and go to bed. Mommy and Daddy are just having a disagreement. It was always a disagreement. No one could ever agree on anything. Dear Mom and Dad, I was a prisoner in my own home, held captive under the sounds of your loud voices, nowhere to hide, nowhere to go. There was no peace. Our home was a battleground where the hardwood floors seemed more like minefields, and my mind could not escape the fighting. Dear Mom and Dad, I tried so hard to hide it, but our perfect home was no longer perfect. What happened to the I do's until death do us part? I don't want to restart. My life is good now. Don't tear us apart. Dear Mom and Dad, I wasn't ready for war.
Never did I once think that the glimmering light would fade away. The kind of light that you would portray with your smile every day, making my every day just a little bit better. But now that the light has stopped beaming, I figured out that falling in love was just a nice thought and that maybe I could be a part of it. Back then, I couldn't say one word to you, but now I choose not to speak, for the chains that once held me back have been broken, the spell that kept me from seeing with my own eyes lifted. And now I see you for who you really are. A waste of my time, and I can finally be rid of these stupid barbells that once held me down and crushed me. The barbells created by my brain to keep me from looking into your eyes that used to sparkle and paralyze me in the hallway. In the end, my brain won the battle against my heart because I no longer look into your eyes. Your smile means nothing to me. But although my brain won, my heart couldn't be happier because they both see that I am finally free from these barbells and that I didn't need you in my life to be happy. You weren't the key to my happiness. After all this, there's something you need to know. The darkness that I once thought was brighter than the sun is the reason that I'm done with you until my light fades away.
Caleb, I watched from your eyes silently behind the walls you've built for me, locked me in and thrown away the key. All I want to do is scream because all I see is him hitting you. A rainbow of bitter aching hues and your skin is smeared with bruises. Please just stop listening to his excuses. Your cheeks are glossy with tears and they hide your fears. They sizzle against your sweltering skin that's blushing in anger, and they trickle down your throat that's hoarse from shouting. I'm trying to find an opening, a crack, hole, crevice, fissure, any chink in your armor. Stop treating me like a martyr. I know I'm your secret, but I don't have to be. Kira, my cage grows smaller and so does your frame. You eat less and less because your reflection is a cause for shame. You're disgusting and you know it. You don't deserve to live. Don't even touch that food. It's repulsive. It makes me convulsive. Don't be impulsive. You don't deserve to live. The cracks in your skin become deeper like a jumpy kid with an etch-a-sketch. Your eyes like sunken caves blotted in black ink. I taunt you to throw your food down the kitchen sink. Sink deeper as I take control. Just let it go. Keep sinking until your bones protrude from your translucent skin underneath the baggy sweaters that you shroud yourself in. You can finally look like the girls in the magazines, and you have to fit into the skinny jeans. Can't you see? This is what you want, what I want, what we want, right? Rowan, fingers drumming, knees bouncing, feet tapping. The tap of anxiety won't turn off, and your brain can't stop to jitter. The world is a kaleidoscope of triggers. Spiraling, running out of time, rushing to meet the deadline. We hate the nighttime because time speeds up. Falling behind, rushing, running out of time. The clocks are all broken. They tell us, we feel like we're dying. They tell us to stop crying. I turn the lights on and off, on and off. It's never enough. This awful energy is the fire that consumes this body. You jump at the slightest of sounds and check to see if anyone is around. Why are you so flustered? Your clothes mismatched and frantically worn like a wind blustered, and you can't spend your whole life playing catch up to an invisible finish line. Take off your number to forget the fact that your whole body is holding its breath. Emery, eyes down, you see the world through a lens of hierarchy and standings. When you were young, your dad taught you how to spell. Fun is spelled W-I-N. The concept is battered and scattered in this trap of a mind. You're stuck in a bind and you're never good enough no matter how hard you try. The hole inside you spreads with ease and your mind is like a deadly disease. You hate the person inside you, so you turn all the mirrors around and you don't make a sound when sobs that rattle and rack your shell are smothered and suffocated. They echo inside your hollow head, and you're well acquainted with the villains inside it that want you dead. We live in a world where boys can't cry, and to hide our pain we find more things to buy. I stand here powerless and watch you stutter and force a smile as the phrase "I'm fine" leaves hanging trails in your mouth. You're not fine. Stop pretending you're fine. When people ask you how you are, they don't really want to know the darkness that festers like mold inside. How did we become so desensitized? Why can't we care about each other? I'm your witness at the scene of the crime. I'm always watching. I'm your friend, your angel, your demon, your foe. Why can't you just let them know that I'm here, that you're broken? You're not perfect, you're not always okay, and that's okay. Stop holding it in, now I've caught you in a fib, because you should just break free and escape with glee. Because I ask you, who should be in control? Is it you or me?
They are not wrong. We're no longer shackled from head to toe, or physically whipped, beaten, and burned. We're no longer mutilated, branded, and imprisoned in response to our own disobedience. But they're not right. Terrence Crutcher, Samuel Dubose, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Philando Castile. 5 bullets divided equally among these men. 5 men equally stripped of human rights. These men who were labeled based on the sins of a few. Going to the dep, he said, "I'll be back," he said. Little did he know that the way he walked to the way he talked granted him the longest sleep and peace he'd ever have. They extracted the man out of human and told them off as the monsters they really were, as if they were crafted onto a different family tree, or as if the yin and yang weren't 2 different shades united. He only went to the dep. Slavery annihilated at last, they proclaimed. Is it really if you put in bullets through their backs? They chained us down with their own history and bruised us with false accusations. They left a collective scar on our skin with the unspeakable name they called us, and trust me, we were called them all. But we learned how to code those scars. But bullet holes cannot be covered with bandages because that bullet. They thought, they raised, they aimed, they fired. 1% because of the fright and 99% because of the inhumanity. Now don't tell me you're sorry for stripping a soul out of its vessel or that it's part of the job. I mean, it's just a black boy, right? Right. Don't sag your pants, they're told. Because if they tried pulling their pants up, it'd make it easier to run. But they shouldn't have to run. It's time to stop running. We had a dream. They had a dream. He had a dream. I have a dream. We must stop letting fear be our excuse for hatred and let nightmares customize our destiny. We must create this future hand in hand and make our choices better, because one thing that I understand is that Black lives matter.
Who are you? The you we're always writing about. We, us, the writers. Poets around the world, around time immemorial, around space unmeasurable. We always seem to write about you. We shape your skeleton with the remains of all the pain we felt, sculpting your bones with the strength of every day we get through. We paint your flesh with the wistful beauty of our tears, layering colors on top of one another. We strive for your attention, to bring you to life with our words, sending them coursing through your body like blood. Who are you? Are you the cry of a first heartbreak? The joy of a lover's return, the agitation, the distress, the stinging burn? Who are you? I don't want to be stuck writing about you, writing for you all the time. Maybe it's time that I write for her. Me, about me and the messy pile of curls on top of my head, or how my hands are cold, always cold, so cold they've just gotten used to it. I don't want to write about you and the roses you used to get me before your hands turned into thorny stems, or how you never remembered how many packets of sweetener I like in my coffee, even though I told you that I like it bitter. I want to write about her. Me, and how my tears taste like the sea, and how my tea tastes more like honey instead of, tea, but my mind is cluttered, and my thoughts only revolve around you and who you think you are.
I write about how you used to read all my favorite books, checking the dog-eared pages for quotes that reminded me of you, how you'd skim over all the sentences I highlighted for you, how you used to throw away all my ballpoint pens that shed blood instead of ink, and all my journals. All my pages and all my words still have your scent basking in them. Who are you? Are you the hurt of my last heartbreak? Are you the euphoria of his lover's return? Are you the loneliness, the sadness, the anger, the endless ocean of emotions us, the poets, feel? You're all of the above and more. You're so much more. You are a piece of every poet's heart. You're the sun, the stars, and the moon, the cumulative of every drop of blood any poet has shed through their pen. You are the lines curving at the end of all of those fake smiles, the parentheses guarding the words that us poets simply don't want to hear. This is who you are. The very essence, the very soul of every poet, the center of our lives' greatest tragedies waiting to be freed. You are the muse I use instead of me.